Alright, this is a video response to Gotta Be Kidding Me in her video on Black Women Turn Tupac into a Thug, in her response to the Truth Be Told video on Tupac's love for black women ruined his life. Gotta Be Kidding Me, I do agree with you that Tupac having this thug life mentality was not based solely on black women telling him he's too nice. I do believe that the Truth Be Told definitely took it out of context. However, I also believe that Tupac's approach towards black women had changed because he was told he was too nice. But even with that thug persona, he still showed his appreciation for women. But his approach towards them wasn't going to be on some, oh, I think you're beautiful, you deserve the best. As I was watching the Truth Be Told video, there was a part on the Tupac clip where he was going into saying the reason he was nice was because his mother raised him into showing the utmost respect for women. And I was thinking, I wonder if that woman he was talking to who said he was too nice, did her mother or father teach her in what to look for in a man? Or did they teach her to stay away from the men who have no respect for women, who took advantage of women, who belittled women, and go for the guys who show appreciation for women, who look at women as their equal? I believe, given the chance, if she was raised into falling for the men who treat them the way they ought to be treated, there could be a slim chance that at the time that Tupac said, oh, I think you're beautiful, you deserve the best, it's a possibility that the two of them could have been going out together and eventually got married. I mean, you never know. If the majority of men and women at a young age were taught on what to look for in the opposite sex and show the respect they should have for one another, there's a possibility that women would go for the nice guys and not the assholes, and the guys who were nice would not be assholes because that's who the women are falling for. There wouldn't be baby mamas, baby daddies, but husband and wife. And if we could just incorporate that in our children, into young people, then we will break the cycle of broken families. There wouldn't be all this baby mama, baby daddy drama. There wouldn't be this sense of power over the opposite sex. There wouldn't be women falling for the no good men but looking for the respectable men. And I'm not saying that isn't happening, but unfortunately there's a majority of single parent homes versus two parent homes in the black community. And I was also thinking what Tupac said to that black woman. I wonder what my reaction would be if I was a guy who was taught let me rephrase that. What would my reaction be if I was a guy who was not taught on how to respect women, and I had a woman approach me and say, I think you're so handsome, you deserve a good woman who will take care of you. I wonder, what do you think my response would be? And this is not a question for Gotta Be Kidding Me, but I was just looking back at that clip, and I wonder, like, what would happen if that role was reversed? But back to Gotta Be Kidding Me. Like I said, I do agree with you that the Truth Be Told took that clip out of context. But listening to your video, you was going over some points about what the black men on YouTube are saying. And I don't know if you misunderstood what we're trying to say to black women, but I'm going to try and go in depth on what you were saying. The majority of your video, I do agree with you, and I just want to somewhat, kind of elaborate on some things. The term black woman bashing. That's the phrase that's been used a lot when black men are talking about what black women need to do. The black women are the ones on TV and magazines talking about the BS of black men, but there was never a term that was developed when black women were addressing what black men need to do. And this is the first time I ever heard black women use the phrase for when black men are addressing the issues that black women need to deal with. Black women bashing. I mean, that phrase seemed like that phrase was only developed on YouTube when men were calling the black women on their BS. What was it called when black women were addressing the black men? I could bet it wasn't negative. I mean, yeah, you know, there are some black men on here who go to the extreme when it comes to talking to the black women who need to get it together. But there's also men on YouTube who are really speaking and telling the truth without being disrespectful. And yet, it seems like the denial that most of the black women on YouTube are saying is when black men speak on black women and their issues, and they give it a negative titled black women bashing. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as enlightening black women. It's like a black man will come on here, whether he say it in a nice tone or aggressive tone. Black women need to stop having all these kids by different men. And then the women's response is, stop bashing black women. It's not bashing, it's the truth. Be accountable, be responsible. We say that, but we get negative feedback. Me personally, I'm not bashing, but I look at it, as I said before, enlightening black women.
Here's another point that these black women bashers fail to mention. They'll talk all day about how black women supposedly want thugs while they're young, while they're not ready to get married. But once they get older and they're ready to get married, that's when they want the more educated, the more affluent men. They talk about this like men don't do the same thing to women, okay? When you're young, when you're not ready to get married, you don't want women who keep their legs closed, okay? But when you get ready to get married, that's when you want the virginal women, regardless of how many women you've been with.
That's a good point. That's a very good and valid point. I agree with you that the young black men were going for the ones that gave it up, and now that they gotten older, they want someone who doesn't give it up to everybody. But that still doesn't justify that there were young women who, when they first laid eyes on the man that they desired, the first thing that popped into their mind was, I want to fuck the shit out that nigga. Ooh, that nigga so sexy. Girl, if I could just, and make so bad that guy that they had this attraction for was a troublemaker. And he didn't treat women well, and make it so bad she knows this, but she still gave it up. And then the guy that told her, oh, I think you're beautiful, you deserve the best, you know, he wanted more than just her goods. She still overlooked him. And when she got older and had kids, now she want the guy that was nice. But you know what else is? But you know something else? It wasn't majority of young black men who went for the promiscuous black women, just as it wasn't majority of young black women who went for the promiscuous young black men. Like I said, that was a good point, but it still doesn't justify that the young women wanted the bad boys, and when they got older, they wanted the good, intelligent, prominent black men.